All right, Aquarius, beautiful pull this week. And it's like, I finally get it now. That's what I'm getting from this more than anything. So from Lay Vampire, enlightenment, inspiration, epiphany, and innovation. But then from chakra wisdom, you pull perception. It's basically saying that something is coming full circle for you now and there's no turning back. But with enlightenment, it's like, I finally get it. I finally understand why I have been through what I have been. And then perception is saying that once you change that view on what you've experienced, it's the promise of a richer experience now because you're seeing things differently. It's like the hangman. This is what happens after the hangman, right? All right, Aquarius, here we go. Here's your overall for the week. The Six of Cups. Who else dealt with this? I think it might have been Gemini. The Six of Cups, so immediately the past. What's going on in your past? The Four of Wands. Okay. So with the Six of Cups, absolutely, we could be talking about a connection from the past coming back through, right? Which, God knows we all love to hear that shit. But, I look at that and I think about, going back to the past. There's significance in the past. And then when you look at the Four of Wands as your past coming through, it's accomplishing something here, getting that stability, building a life with somebody, moving in with somebody, right? With the Four of Wands. But, it's reaching that milestone where you feel like you get to celebrate what you have accomplished, but with the Six of Cups, it could definitely be about, what is going on in the home, dealing with issues from the past. But things in the past look good for most of you, And it may be that there's a better understanding between you and another person here, and, you're building stability between each other, absolutely. But I look at the Six of Cups in this deck, and I think those are happy memories. And right, for some of you could just be looking back and being nostalgic over the past, right? But still, you have accomplished something here. So what does that mean now? The Knight of Wands. So it's almost like the best parts of the past are being brought back up for you, but it's opening the door for you to start moving forward here on your passion, but there's not like overthinking. I don't necessarily feel like this is about you not paying attention to the consequences of your actions. It could absolutely be somebody coming through with, passion and bringing up passion in you, right? But I think more so it's about you being a little bit more active, more on it when it comes to, the things that you are wanting to accomplish. It's like once you reach that milestone, it opens the door for you to continue, which is great. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Future conditions, the sun. And if we're talking about like your childhood, it's like, going back and looking at happy things and then recreating it now in the present. But then with the sun in future conditions, right? I don't just look at this as, being revitalized and having new energy. I mean, absolutely. But when I look at the sun, I think of sense of identity, sense of self, and like going back to the past where you remember a time where, you accomplished something big. And now, it's like, I can still do this. I can still do something new. I can still, travel, follow my passions, whatever it is here with the Knight of Wands. But with the sun, it's good. It's good for you. It's going to make you feel better about you, right? And it's funny because coming out of Aries, that seems to be the thing for a lot of people, is feeling better about their sense of self, But then also, right, everything from the past being brought out into the light and fully seeing things. And again, right, the aha moment, like I finally understand, I finally see now, and it all looks really good. Your best path to follow, the King of Cups. What I'm going to say on this is, because I look at you as, the King of Swords, whether you're male or female here, when you're looking at the King of Cups, you're talking about, needing to be wise with your emotions, but then also like needing to show an emotional side, Now, for some of you, absolutely, this could be someone from the past, possibly a family member, somebody who is showing you some support, right? But then, also here, when it comes to the past, it's like being in a better place emotionally. But I look at this and I think that there needs to be like more emotion shown on your side, just because we're talking about Aquarius. Some of you may be being asked here to support, a child with the Six of Cups, absolutely. Or, being supportive of somebody from the past that may be coming through, right? That there's a level of stability with. But I don't know. I look at this more so as, let's look at your emotional side right now, right? But it has to do with the past, and a past connection. In your environment, the Queen of Wands, and looking at the Knight of Wands, woo boy. Now, for some of you, absolutely, this is going to be a person that you're dealing with, whether we're looking at the King of Cups or the Queen of Wands. But, like I've said before, the personality is what's more important to me. So if we're looking at the Queen of Wands in your environment, for a lot of you right now, you may be feeling really good about yourself. And then you have the Sun, which makes it even better. Now, we could definitely be talking about, somebody from the past who is seeing you now, right? The Queen of Wands, I look at as somebody who is well-known, popular, somebody who is exciting to be around, right? She gets attention, people notice her. But if that's happening for you, it's only because it's like you finally get it now and you're moving forward on, reaching bigger and better things. I mean, you've only hit the 4 in the past, and it's almost like you're going back and going, yeah, I can do more. I can experience more, right? I can put myself out there, and attract better things. And then, you feel better about yourself. But I still think that there's a part of you that needs to look at your, emotional connection, though, to the past and this past stability, and realizing now that you can have this again. Now, like I said, fire is coming up here and water, but you could definitely have somebody that's stirring up passion in you, and they may make you feel better. It may be somebody that you have history with. It could be a family member, right? But it's good. Like, I feel good. I feel good about, who you feel like you are. Yeah, I'm seeing this one a lot here. Your hopes and your fears, strength, right? Being able to pull on, that inner strength here to follow your passion. And that's basically it, and then you have Leo showing up here. But, I don't see it as a bad thing. It's just, finding the inner strength here to do it, to actually do it this time. I don't know. I almost feel like there's a break between what you have accomplished in the past and what you have been wanting to do, and then finally getting to the point where you do it, and pulling on the reserve here to actually go forward. Oh, wow. And then the outcome, death. Jeez. I look at this more so as, the definite ending of something here, but, transformation, right? Death and transformation. But it's leading you to a better sense of self, though, because of the Sun. And then the Hierophant, the High Priest. I don't so much feel like this is about needing to make, a commitment somewhere else. I think that this is about you having a higher understanding, right? The keys of knowledge, the understanding. I do think that it's more about you needing to commit to the plans that you've made here, right? And follow through on that. But with death being there, things are definitely changing, but situations coming to an absolute close in regards to the past, but it opening the door to a new you, absolutely here. But, looking at the Five of Pentacles, if we're talking about, any kind of difficulties or rejection as far as, past family situations, though, too, it's like that's over and done with. And whatever financial strain that you've had due to a move or whatever, it's over with. You know, whatever rejection that you faced, wherever you felt like you were on the outside looking in, again, with death being there, it's done and over with. It's almost like you're going back and looking at the past, but looking at the best parts of it. And that's what's, you know, opening the door for you to say, okay, I can actually have that again. Now, with the Two of Wands and then looking at the Hierophant, like I said, this is really about, you know, you making a commitment to yourself here to follow through on these plans, right? Because it's about you feeling better about yourself, you know? I don't see, you know, with the Sun and death being there as a bad thing, you know, but it's a definite ending to the past and things changing for you, but for the better. You know, and it's like, aha, I got it. Like, I finally understand, you know, but then I'm also looking at that King of Cups and thinking there definitely needs to be some emotional acknowledgement. And also, you know, the understanding of what you've experienced emotionally based on the past, you know. But it's like, you know, that enlightenment, that understanding. Like I've always said with the Six of Cups, you have to be careful about what you're going back and looking at, because that is what you are bringing into the present moment and you will create tomorrow. And it's like you get it now and you're bringing the best parts of the past into the present moment, and it's driving you. You know, it's driving you to do more, to experience more, to follow your passions, right? And feeling better about yourself. I like it. I think it's good. And then teach, right? And then I look at the High Priest. What you have experienced, you know, the knowledge that you have with teach is going to help other people to understand, right? Teaching by example. But prosperity, there is prosperity coming to you that's going to open the door to some new adventures, absolutely. And then teaching others to do the same, right? I love it. I love it. And I love the fact that prosperity is showing up, especially with the Five of Pentacles clarifying death, you know. And then be in the present moment and dream of the future. When we dream, everything is possible. And yeah, you know, you already got that looking at the Six of Cups and the Four of Wands. I love it. I love it. Now, you know, if we're looking at this in terms of a relationship, then absolutely, you know, for some of you, you are in a true love situation, right? But, you know, this could also be about, you know, acting on your true love, you know, that new adventure, those new inspirations, right? Finding a new love. But definitely for some of you, it's going to be about a romance that, you know, is going to be big for you. But then be in the present moment and dream of the future. Yeah, I think it's perfect, Aquarius. I think that for a lot of you, it's finally understanding. All right, Aquarius, so I do think looking at this for a lot of you, it's going back to the past, but, you know, it's all about you feeling better about who you are. That's what I get from this more than anything. Now, when we're looking at the Six of Cups, absolutely, we could be talking about, you know, things coming back from the past, but I think it's your passions that are coming back up. You know, I do think that with the Four of Wands, we could be talking about, you know, you hitting a major accomplishment here, but like there's a lapse almost. And then I feel like all of a sudden it's an understanding and then boom, okay, so I've had this stability before. I can do this. Right, and with the Sun being there and looking at these, it's good for you. It's going to make you feel better about who you are when you actually start to follow your passions, right? Because I think of self-image when I look at the Queen of Wands. But looking at the Knight of Wands, it's like, you know, not just feeling better about yourself, but better about the things that you're actually wanting. And then, you know, forcing yourself to get up and go after it now. Now, with the King of Cups being your best path to follow, it could be that you need to accept support, but then I think that it's about you needing to look at, you know, your emotional side, maybe needing to tap into that. You know, it's funny because sometimes I'll see, like, the Empress as your best path to follow, telling you that you need to be a little bit more nurturing. It's almost like you need to feel something. It's not that you need to be obsessed or emotionally attached, like the Queen of Cups here. There's still wisdom when it comes to your own emotions, but needing to show that side almost. Now with strength, right, the strength and the courage to actually get up and go after what you want. And then I do think that for some of you, absolutely, there could be a person coming through that is stirring passion in you, but it's a good thing. It's making you feel better, but it's making you want to go after it, and recreate the stability that you have had in the past, whether it's wanting to build a life with somebody, but it can happen again. And then I look at death coming out, and with the Five of Pentacles, absolutely, this is over with. There's not going to be any more financial strain or rejection or being on the outside looking in on your own life. That's over with. Things are changing here, but they're changing in a better way for you, because with the Sun in death, that's, not a bad combo at all. And finally getting it. Like, I finally understand. I finally see now that things have to change. Some things have to be completely over with in order for me to feel better about me and realize that I can recreate the best parts of my past and have that in the present moment, right? But then looking at the Two of Wands and the Hierophant, I think it's about you needing to make that commitment to yourself to follow through on these plans, because you have every right to create your world the way you want, right? I love it. I think it's a beautiful reading. Now, looking at the soul trees, prosperity, adventure, and teach, there's going to be prosperity in your life when you take these new adventures, and then you'll be able to show other people and teach other people how to do the same, which absolutely makes sense when we're talking about Aquarius. Now, as far as whispers of love, true love, for some of you, you are finding a true love. Right? And there's a lot of passion, which is great, but be in the present moment and dream of the future. Yeah. Right? Like, that's what I feel like, you're finally understanding now. The past is no longer hindering you. It's opening the door for you to feel better about who you are and actually get up and go after what is going to, bring passion and excitement into your life. But also realizing that things are definitely over with for you. But it's a huge transformation coming out on this. But you need to make the commitment to yourself here to follow through on these plans.